after he introduces me. Go.
Hey, everybody. I'm excited to welcome you to another training that we're putting on today, how to hire your first Rockstar sales professional. I know this is something that everybody struggles with. As you continue to grow your business, how do you get out of doing the sales? And not just how do you get out of it, but how do you bring in rock stars that are going to be able to crush it for you? Today's agenda is I'm going to welcome our great speaker, Ryan, here. I'll tell you a little bit about him on the next slide, but we're going to dive into a lot. See, Ryan's been doing this for a long time at a very high level, and this is going to be like drinking from a fire hose, just like most trainings. So I encourage you to go back, take notes, continue to learn, and reflect on the things that Ryan goes over today, because I'm going to tell you what he's going to talk about and the value that he's going to bring to you and your organization is going to be some of the best time that you spend this week. Like I said, we're going to look at hiring sales reps and building a team, your company leadership, how to know your numbers, a professional, I quote, professional sales recruiting process, sales leadership and team management, defining that sales process, and of course, an evaluation on all guys competent at selling. So with no further ado, I want to introduce Ryan. Ryan is a fantastic man with a heart for training the construction industry. What I love about him is his passion to professionalize the sales process within construction. Because to me, it's all about changing the mindset around the industry. It's one of the reasons I'm doing these trainings. And Ryan's no different. He wants to do the same for that sales process. And we all know that sales process in the construction industry is something that needs to be changed. It needs to be professionalized. It needs to be standardized. So I'm excited to welcome Ryan here today. Thank you for joining us.
Hey, Ron, thank you so much for having me. Really honored to be hanging out with you guys. I'm going to just, like you said, drink from a fire hose, get ready, take notes, lock in. I'm going to be giving you guys something that can set you free as an owner, can level up your business and transform the trajectory of what you're doing. I also know that if you do this right and do it the way I'm sharing with you, you guys are going to have a whole lot more fun. And a lot of this came about in my story. My mom and stepdad had a contracting business, a small general contracting business in South Florida, and they only worked off referrals. They only got, the owner, my stepdad, did all the selling, and there was no formal training or process. And unfortunately, through the recession, they struggled to make it through that, and then they had to go out of business. And then I got an opportunity to play professional baseball. I went on a little baseball bright turn for a while and went as far as I could and got drafted a couple times, and that was a good time. But then when I came back, I found myself back in the construction industry, and it was funny. I got hired to do sales for a concrete restoration company in South Florida, and they had like zero formal compensation plan, zero employment agreement, right along in the car, zero CRM, zero training program, zero sales process. I literally made a list on an iPad of all the property managers that I can contact. I was wearing a tie in front of a job site. At my desk was my iPad, and that's literally how I was doing it. And I'm a 27-year-old, hungry, with just about to have a baby, ready to make my mark on my career after my baseball career. And there was nothing for me to do. I couldn't move forward. I tried, but there wasn't any pay. They could pay me $16 an hour, and that was it. And it's the small-mindedness of the mom and pop contractor that when I actually, through networking, met a large commercial roofing contractor who today does about $80 million, and 25% of that is all service, repair, and maintenance revenue, and the rest is all replacement revenue. So this is not like just new construction stuff, low bid stuff. This is really quality business. And I saw the contrast between the little leagues and the big leagues, basically. And when I got to be a part of that environment and then work, I started to build a CRM product with him and built the business up and had a couple of hundred contractors on there, teaching them on how to build a sales team and manage the sales pipeline. And I started to see, oh my gosh, like I can help people with this. So that's when I started this company, Sales Transformation Group. And so what I'm going to share with you today is we're able to help you if you have any help after that. Just a second. Sweet. So let's just dive right in. That's a little bit of my background. And I'm currently, I'm married, I have 5 kids, and I love what we do. So just a little bit about me. Originally from Florida, lived in Texas, and currently live in the West Side, pretty far of the country. You can figure that out later if you want to connect about it. So we'll jump right in. So here's a couple questions for you. Are you looking to hire a sales rep or build a sales team? Why should you? So look, some of you have been burned in the past. You've hired somebody that you thought was going to be amazing, but then they're your buddy from high school, or your brother, or your spouse's brother or something, and you just like thought this was going to work, and then it didn't work. Maybe they didn't do what they said they were going to do. Maybe they didn't work very hard. Maybe they didn't have the same hustle as you. You figure out you might as well just do it yourself. And so you're just like finally like, you know what? I make more money when I do it myself, so I'm just going to do it myself. And so you get back to doing it yourself all the time. And so my questions is like, what didn't work and why? Like, why didn't it work? What should happen before you hire your first sales rep? What we don't want is churning out of the team and people leaving. It's like a revolving door. We don't want B players or C players. How do we get A players? And we want to do this right the first time, just like clients who pay you and they pay more to do a project right the first time, right? If you're doing a remodeling job, that homeowner could do it themselves, right? Or they could try to, figure out some jerry-rig way to do it. Or they can, hire somebody who's moonlighting, works for another company, and they do it over the weekend. Or you can hire a professional with a process to do it right the first time, but you got to pay more for it. You want that done in your organization. Pay attention so that you don't waste time, waste money, waste opportunity costs, get burnt, and feel like you're not able to progress. Because ultimately, what I believe all of us want is what I like to call contractor nirvana. What is that? It's when you have a team that's accountable, that are A players taking massive action, that love to be coached and are coached, that have a process that's unified, and more high performers want to join it. You have a super sweet pipeline in and out of season. You're resilient with cycles and of the market, and it's a recession-proof sales approach. And you have a backlog that's growing over and over with fat, juicy margin, high quality clientele. That's contractor nirvana. Like that's the dream state. It's possible to earn that place, but you have to do certain things, and it all starts around from contact to contract. What takes place in the sale when a lead comes in, how you get the lead, and when you close out a contract. So that's what we're going to talk about, is standing up your department for the first time with one person to do that. So take notes. Let's get after it. First thing we want to talk about is company leadership. What is the vision of the sales department? Where are we going? And what are your core values? So, for example, you may or may not have these already defined, but I'm telling you, you want them. You want to define them. There's a few reasons why. I believe that you need to hire, coach, and fire based on core values. Okay? You're going to have people who love, that are dear friends, that have been friends for 20 years, that are on your sales team. I'm just telling you, 70% of you guys are going to do that. It's just how it is in this industry. And you may have a point in time where you know that their being on your team is limiting the company because of their bad habits, the poor example they're setting for the other teammates, or certain variables. You have the opportunity to coach them up, hire them or fire them based on those core values. And it's objective. It's separated just from a personal vendetta or an attack on it. Takes the personal nature out of it as you're trying to grow your business. Core values are also important for hiring because you can ask questions not based just on competency, which we'll cover, and it's important, but based off of connection and unity around how they think, who they are, what are they about? And because at the end of the day, you as an owner can go sell stuff because you're the owner, but you as an owner building up a sales team, and the sales team can do way better. However, if they don't have certain things in place, they won't differentiate. It won't be successful. And you're actually going to feel like it's worse with the sales team, with your performance. You're making less money. It's frustrating. You're not making more money. And you're not having more time. We want more time and more money and peace of mind. We want all those things. So what you need to do is define the company core values, because this will help create leadership. Sorry, this will help create a culture. Also, it also starts to make your company feel more professional, because it feels less like, hey, I work for Ron or I work for Ryan. It's like, I work for Ryan. He's got a great vision. He's got a culture he's creating. He's got an environment that's being shaped. It's like being on a winning sports team. The team has philosophies, it has isms, it has beliefs that make that team unique. You want to be able to have somebody come in, if they move on, they say, when I work for such and such contracting business, such and such construction, they taught me things that never left me, right? This is the kind of stuff that you can do. So you need to document the core values. You need to have about 4 to 5 of them, and they need to be deeply meaningful to you that you can build your team around. If you need help with that, we can help with that. But it'll shape the trajectory of your future. Also, you need to have a vision and a strategic direction. So, like, for example, when you're bringing on sales teammates, reality is you're in sales too. You're selling the salespeople, right? Sales is like you get people to take action, right? You're selling somebody, you're influencing somebody on getting them to take action. Well, that's the same thing when you're leading salespeople, right? You're selling them on the idea to take action for themselves and for everybody, for the client. And for their families, all these things. What that looks like is you have to be able to show potential of how it looks to be successful with your organization as the bus they're on, right? So you have to show like a financial upside, a cultural, non-monetary upside, like, developing their self-development or personal growth, things like that. So that's really important. And then strategic direction is going to be more like, hey, here's our ideal client profile, our ICP. Here's who we target. Here's who we say no to. Here's who we don't touch with a 100-foot pole. We got to run like the wind whenever we see this type of situation. Here's what we love. Here's what we don't. Here's where we're going to lock in. Why do we do that? Well, salespeople are like, they're going to come in and think anything's a fit. They're going to be like, yeah, I guess they're going to sell anything because they want to make money. So you have to create guardrails to keep them focused. And if you don't do that, you have an opportunity you're susceptible to veering off course. And it's almost like you want to have blinders, and you want like Cyclops eyes, just like lasers coming right out of my eyes. I'm just like, we just want that all the time. Just locked in, right? We want my time, my energy, focus in my working days on generating pipeline and closing deals with my favorite clients, just locked in, right? In order to do that, you got to get them to not even think about seeing anything else. And that is your job. Okay. So that's part number 1. Ron, you got anything for that?
I couldn't agree more. I've been down this road before, and I've done it both ways. I've done it with, just like you said, what's the industry standard is, unfortunately, we're going to go find people we know and we think are going to be great.
Right.
But it's the complete opposite ends up happening. But then when you define the core values, that culture, and you build off of that, and you understand who you want to do work with. My favorite thing that you said there was, who you don't want to touch with a 100-foot stick. That's so important. And it's so important to teach those sales reps that, because they don't know when they're coming in. 27-year-old Ryan, kid on the way, he's hungry. He's ready to rock and roll. He's going to touch everything he possibly can to close a deal. You want to be able to put those blinders on those guys, because when you do that, they become so much more effective, because now they're talking to the right people every day.
100%. Love it. So we'll go to the next section here. So this is important, knowing your numbers. So yeah, you need to know your numbers. You need to know your financials, but specifically around sales, let's talk about a sales plan. So for example, if we're trying to go from 1 million to 4 million over the next 12 to 18 months, let's do some math. Like, how do we get there? Right? How are we going to get there? So, well, look, our average job size is this. The average gross margin is this. Our current closing ratio on deals concluded is this. Well, you're like, well, dude, I don't know those numbers. Well, let me ask you this. Are you using a CRM? Are you using a technology that helps you understand those reports? We at SCG provide a tracking app to help you do this, because it's like you got to stay on track. Because here's the thing. You'll hire a sales rep and he'll be like, man, I have a bunch of great deals in the pipeline. And guess what you might start to see? Zero activity of prospecting. Zero activity in discovery and presentations of estimates and proposals, or follow-up activities down. They're just not making calls, or they're not building relationships with influencers in the industry or your marketplace to be professional type referrals. Like, you're just missing, like, they need their jobs to generate revenue and do revenue generating activities. So if you don't have what we call KPIs, key performance indicators, there's leading indicators and then there's lagging indicators. So for example, Ron, let's pretend you're on my sales team and you have sold 100 grand, right? Well, but then you had very little, you were like 10% toward goal on leading indicators. So the lagging indicators is, hey, you made a sale. What does it indicated on the back end that something happened? Well, guess what it was? I had a lead I generated. I teed you up because I wanted you to get paid a commission. We jumped on a call. I closed it for you, and you got the commission. That's what that indicated, right? I'm just giving an example. The leading indicators are, okay, how many calls did we make? How many doors did we knock? How many relationships did we build? How many events did we attend? Whatever that may be, right? So we use a tracking app to help you know those numbers and stay on course. What's a beautiful thing is a sales rep doing their leading activities, hitting goal, and then hitting sales goal. And even if they're below sales goal, how much better do you feel as an owner knowing that they're doing the work? So the work is there. That removes that variable, because, you and I both know if we don't get up to bat, we have no chance to score, right? We don't shoot the ball, but hey, we're doing the activities. So where's the fall off between maybe prospecting and getting the meeting? Maybe it's their positioning statement. Maybe it's that prospecting language they're using. Maybe it's body language. Maybe they got a belief problem. Maybe they have a at-home problem. And you're like, wow, I didn't realize this. If you fix this, you'd be more present and focused. And if you're more confident in what you're selling, what we got to realize is that sales reps are like athletes, and you have to find out what's really going on. And if you don't have any numbers to go from, you're going to be coaching very, very, very subjectively. And that's hard at scale. And that's actually hard professionally, because it starts to get personal, or you just don't have the right tools to know like what the real problem was that you misfire. So there's a lot of problems with that. Knowing your numbers is key. And this is a great start. Okay. So you got to have that. Also, you got to know your financials as well. We have friends and partners that are really good at helping you put together your strategic plan on your budget, and like knowing your actual numbers. You need that. And we're big on knowing your sales numbers and knowing how to build the sales organization up. So that's that, Ron. If you got a comment, you want to jump in, and then we can go to the next section.
Yeah, I think this is one of the most important things to understand from a sales perspective to grow a business or even start to hire anybody. Like, if you don't know the numbers, your KPIs, it changes the entire game. But when you know them, it changes the entire game, because it just becomes a math equation of how many leads do we need, or what can we improve? Like, what is our closing percentage where it should be nationally? Like, you without understanding this, I just don't see where you're even moving into position to hire somebody.
A lot of people don't do this. They just bring them on and they say, go sell stuff. And it's really true. They don't even have like a good compensation agreement that incentivizes them to sell stuff. And then like sometimes they don't know what to do. So they do such a rich salesperson friendly, not business friendly comp plan. And then they end up feeling like they regretted it because they just kind of had like no plan. They just said, hey, go eat what you kill, man. That's how it works. It's more than that. It's more than that. So
absolutely.
Yeah, that's huge. Okay. So the next one. So you got to have a professional recruiting process. Now, we teach a few things. First is like, let's hire this first all-star. What do we got to do? Well, we have to first attract them. Okay, so what I like to teach at STG is our recruiting funnel, and it's composed of a few things. We run ads to on a platform, LinkedIn, Indeed, even Facebook. You can run ads locally and speak to people on video if you like, even directly on Facebook. You use your ad platform and you run them to a landing page. So a landing page is it's a web page, it's a funnels page with a video. And the video has a headline above it, and the headline needs to be attractive because essentially you're doing marketing for talent instead of marketing for leads and clients. You're doing marketing for talent. So then you have a headline and then you have a video, and the video should be 5 minutes to 8 to 10 minutes tops. And it's a video where you as an owner are speaking about the opportunity and who you're looking for and describe them to a T, like a create a player if you're on a video game. Like, just like this is for this type of person, this type of person, this type of person. Set the bar like you want to be Madden 99 player. Like they got to be this. I want somebody who's like this, like that. Just specifically call out every single attribute, personality trait, core value that you have defined, so that somebody's like, wow, they're talking to me. And then now you got my attention. What's it like working here? And what you could do is just speak to what they're going to experience, what they're going to do every day, what the day in the life is like, what the future is like, what the financial upside is like, what the culture is like. They're looking for people who want to have a career path. So you're selling them on this idea of, that look, you can go be a dentist and you can go be a doctor, and you got to go to school and be in debt, and you can make that much money within the first 18 months here, or something like that, right? You could speak to people and sell on the vision. So you cast vision on the opportunity. Even if you don't have any salespeople yet, you sold. So you are demonstrating some sort of what's possible because you've done it yourself. So that video, they watch it, then they apply, then they get routed to a screening test. What this does is it screens them for some of the competencies that we want as a baseline before you consider hiring them. So it weeds out the people who have no shot. So what this does is it's a way to keep you from spending a lot of time interviewing people and making the wrong decisions because you're excited because people are good at interviews and you like them. So we screen those people out so that you're only interviewing people who are liking your video. They like what they're seeing. They like the vision, the opportunity, and they've taken the screening test and they passed it. And now you can interview them. So you interview them for core values, for what they've done before. History repeats itself. We teach a lot of different things on that. But still, the job's not done, right? What's next? Onboarding. Let's just say let me back up. The job's not done. You got to ink the deal. So you got to have an employment agreement with a comp plan. You got to be able to describe the comp plan. You got to be able to show them what they need to do and set clear expectations, because written agreements prevent disagreements, right? If you have a written agreement, you'll prevent a disagreement, and you don't want disagreements. He said, she said, unmet expectations. People feel frustrated and offended. They mark you and they label you as such and such, and it's a problem. You don't want that. So written agreements prevent disagreements. Get them signed on the dotted line. Everything's locked in, wrapped up, put together in detail. And then you have an onboarding process. Now, what's that? What's it look like their first week, their first 30 days, their first 60 days, the first 90 days? What activities should they do? What training should they go through? What needs to happen? What kind of coaching are they going to get? What kind of ride-alongs are they going to get? These are questions you're like, man, I don't really want to. Yeah, build a plan, right? Just like if I were to hire you to build my house, I'd want to see the plans, right? I want to see the plans. You're building my house. You're doing my roof. You're doing a full remodel. You're doing an addition. I want to see the plans. Same thing when you build a sales organization or you build your first sales teammate and hire. Have a plan so when they come in, they fulfill the plan and they're on track and they can be successful, so that they're like, wow, that owner did what they said they're going to do. Even if I'm a little behind, like I know I'm on track and I see the vision, I see the future, and the future is bright. And then you need to be able to have the resources and time and energy and bandwidth to support them. And so that is a big deal. And hiring sales coaches or additional support will certainly help that. If it's better to spend the money to get coaching and support to do that, then not at all, because the cost of not doing anything will be more expensive than the cost of doing something and you get a huge ROI. Now you have a fully trained sales professional who's crushing it with you and you trust them, and you're not doing that as much. And Lord willing, you're making more money because all they do is spend their time on selling. And then if you have more marketing and enough leads, or it's easy to prospect in your market, what you can do there is hire more salespeople, which is amazing. So now you got your first sales all-star, and you need to onboard and train. Any questions on that, Ron?
No, I mean this is what creates a professional environment of what we're talking about. This is what separates you from Joe Smo down the road in the rusty pickup truck.
Yep.
And you here with a vision and an actual process. I mean, it's why this is important. It's one of the reasons I love what you guys do, because you guys are 100% focused on creating this outcome for people and nothing else. And that's amazing.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you. And I didn't mean to say, do you have questions? I meant comments. My apologies. Thanks for the good comments there. So then after that, you have to focus on sales leadership and team management. So what that means is, how do you manage them? What's a sales meeting look like? What's a framework that's going to be repeatable, that's going to help us have a good meeting, and it doesn't feel like we're just putzing around or watch a YouTube video that's motivating or talk about a deal only. It's like, no, let's talk about where are we at. So what we do is we teach a program or a framework called the 5-star meeting framework. And this is where we have different components where you walk through and you fulfill the pillars of the meeting. And then you go through it and you have a good cadence. And you know your pipeline, you know your activity, you have a forecast, you have different initiatives, you know what's going to close, and it's accountable. And then when you have a sales team that's doing that and they're all reporting on their own numbers and they're prepared and presenting where they're at with a standard way of doing it, then everybody has this, they got to be prepared. They got to know their numbers and know their business. So that's a big one. And then you'll have coaching, like formal coaching and informal coaching. So informal coaching is like, hey, Ron, I got this situation. What do you think I should do? Right? That's informal coaching. You're coaching them. And then you have formal coaching, which is coaching specifically on, hey, let's talk about this call. Let's role play this call coming up. Or, hey, the call just ended. How did it end? Let's work backwards. Did the wheels fall off anywhere? When you did this, what happened? When you asked this, what happened? When you asked this, what happened? What they say. And you're going to get the ability to reverse engineer where the wheels fell off. There's also tools, and we have several that we endorse that actually do virtual ride-alongs, and they record the calls, and then it gives the sales leaders like game film of what actually happened. So we love those types of tools too, so that you can coach, because you don't want to find out later that they've been saying something wrong the whole time for a year with all the leads that they generated. Like, that's not good. So quality control is important. And then, there's this, what you want to know is, how as a coach can you develop their sales skills to be elite? So there's certain sales skills that are really, really important. Like, one is prospecting and hunting. So being able to find new business, relationship building, being able to connect authentically in a business environment that's real and that builds trust and lowers resistance. Another one is consultative selling, asking really good and great and tough questions. And that positions you less as bitter and just happy to be there. And it keeps the status that's equal business stature, and creates a connection that they're not just going to abuse you and get you to be cheap on price. You have leverage in the conversation too. And you're an expert and you're in control, but they think they're in control, but you're actually in control. That's the best type of sales. So that type of thing. And also the ability to qualify, the ability to get to all the decision makers, the ability to find out what really will hold them back and what decision-making process looks like, timeline, all that before putting together an estimate and presenting a solution. And then closing and follow-up, or objection handling, things like that. So all that said, we have different skills that you need to teach. Those are like some basic, like high-level skills. Then you have more soft skills that can be done through coaching as well. All of that, like, what's really cool is we as human beings, we can grow. And when we form habits and new standards and ways of thinking and behaving, it's like we're athletes that have a skill that can be sustained. It's like marketing, you turn on an ad and you turn off an ad, right? It generates something. But sales has a skill set that'll pay over and over again, and actually it increases in value over time if it's utilized. So having a team is very powerful, and being able to do it well and get their skills to that level is super powerful. So those are some high level points on sales leadership and team management.
Yeah, when you look at having a meeting and having a framework for that, it's one of the most important things that you can do, especially with sales reps. You don't just want to get them around to just kick the tires because, like you said, these are performance athletes that want to be out there selling and they want that accountability. I think one of the things I hear all too often is, oh, we don't want to talk numbers or have any of that in these meetings. It could create an adverse deal. And I challenge that. Like, to me, that's not right. I think that is what they want, and that creates this competitive spirit, and people want to show up, and they don't want to be low man on the totem pole, especially in these sales meetings.
Leadership, leaderboards go a long way. Incentives, it's just having fun, creating an atmosphere. There's a locker room, there's a scoreboard, and if you have salespeople who don't like that, then maybe that's not for them. Because a lot of people really respond well to that. And some people talk a lot. Some people let their numbers do the talking, and it's just fun. I just love that stuff. It's just fun. You get to. I think
that's the key word. It's fun. It should be that.
Totally, and that's the leadership's culture that they get to create, and you get to create. It's so fun. It's my company is like a sports team, and I get to build an offense and create an environment and a culture of winning and improvement and teamwork. Yeah, that's what we're talking about. It's like that's why business is so fun. I love it. I love business. You get to be creative and innovative, and it's so fun. So this is really important. And if you're not doing this, just look around. You'll notice the ones who are really, really good do this. It's not that you have to do it if you want to compete. And the sophistication level, the leadership qualities, the training available out there, it's just you gotta buy it. So anyway, all that said, that's that for sales team leadership and management. Another really, really, really valuable and important process is defining the sales process. So what we have is at our company is we have a defined sales process. It's a baseball diamond. And so first, second, third base, home, they all have different stages of the sale. And in between the bases in the baselines, we have different milestones that we lay out. And really, it's up to the sales rep to run the bases and not skip bases. It's really it. And so they ask certain questions to achieve certain milestones that if they do that, then it's a very closable deal. Most of the objections and issues have come out in advance. And therefore, they're better prepared to present and solve a problem within the context of the discovery process that they accomplished on the base paths. And they'll close deals with less effort at a higher rate. If you have this process, it levels up everybody. It's like giving them just the right tools to lock in on. If you don't have this, everybody has their own process. So-and-so's watching this guru on that line and online, and this person's watching that guru. And what we want to do is have a bought-in, unified philosophy that has a visual nature to it that people can just reference. And it helps you guys stay on track. It helps you coach them and be accountable to them. So it's super powerful. And, we're big on that. So we actually have a residential, like trade agnostic sales training course called Residential Sales Accelerator. We have a commercial sales accelerator for any commercial contractor. And then we have a door-to-door roofing specific sales course that you would have access to if you guys, chose one of those, depending on your business model. And then an onboarding template as well for that to give people the tools they need. So super valuable. You got to have this. This right here is like a weapon that once they hold it and they're wielding it, they're set up to sell. You could turn somebody who really doesn't even like to talk to people. And if they use these steps, they're going to sell better than they're going to sell well. But what you want is talented people that are bought into your culture, that see the vision, and they have this process. They're like armed and dangerous warriors out there. So really powerful stuff. Any comments on sales process?
Yeah, this is the difference. This is what you're out to change in the industry. And without a process, you can't hold anybody accountable. There's no training that can happen. Right. With a process, you're able to train, you're able to figure stuff out. When Ryan earlier addressed, what is somebody doing at this point in the sale, or did they say this, or what's throwing it off?
Right.
If you don't have a process, you can't evaluate anything because, like you said, you have somebody that's listening to this guy, somebody that's listening to this guy. Their results suck. There's no way to hold anybody accountable. But if you have a process and you're committed to it and then you train on it, it makes all the difference because everything becomes standardized. Your clients know what to expect. When they refer you to somebody else, they know this is what it's going to look like. And there's no questions involved in that. It's really powerful when you start to do this stuff.
So powerful. And then another thing we do that we highly recommend that would be to get some sort of objective evaluation, whether it's another coaching company. We happen to use a tool that measures 21 core competencies and measures them against what an elite sales rep would be like. And then we gap them and show what are the different causes, not just of the deficiencies, we call it, but also the causations of those. So it could be limiting beliefs that are sabotaging their ability to actually be great at sales. For example, when somebody who has a low buying cycle, like a supportive buying cycle, which is when they buy things as a sales rep, they love to think it over, research, look for the cheapest price, and take their time before making a decision. So my question is, if a sales rep buys that way, and then a sales prospect in their sales process says, I need to think it over, I need to research, what do you think that sales rep who buys that way is going to say to the prospect?
Absolutely.
They're like, I totally get it. Do the same thing, right? So is that good for your sales cycle? Is that good for your closing ratio? Does that help people make the right choice and close deals and help fill up your bank account with income? The answer is no. So what we do is we find things like that and address them before we even, like, while we're training. So then they can up level their belief systems to support obviously highly ethical, highly integrous, high integrity salesmanship. But at the end of the day, if your intent is to help people, yes, you're using manipulative tactics because we're in sales. Like, we're getting people to do things. But your intent is to help them and you really want to do the right thing, then you become a skilled salesperson. And so we identify those weaknesses that are hidden that they wouldn't necessarily know, that you as an owner wouldn't know. And we help expose those and level you guys up. So we actually provide those results in an action plan. But you can find other companies to do that, but that's something that we are really big on. And that feels so professional from the sales reps experience. They're like, oh, this is a professional company. This is awesome. And then they feel like more confident in the brand they're working with. They feel more supported. They're up leveling. So it's a lot of fun. Any comments?
Yeah, this is what, like you said, is they start to buy, not just buy in, but they want to be there because guys, they want to be in an environment where not only can they excel, they're also going to be pushed. And in the construction world, we get guys that are amazing. They just go sell, and then they just move on to the next place. It's because that place where they were at never looked at them and was like, I know you're awesome at sales, but we can do this that will make you even better. And that's what they want, is they want that what is that next challenge? How do I even get better at this? And this is a way to do that in a non-threatening way to anybody. Like, this is just, here it is. We want you to be the best you possibly can be.
Totally. So good. So, what happens when you hire the right way the first time? You have faster success. You have a repeatable process. You have a culture of winning. You have the confidence to do it again. You're like, let's do it again. Let's get another team member. This is great. You have the resources to promote a sales manager. It's a lot of fun. So here's what we have. If you're a typically, what I'm thinking about is a $500,000 to $3 million company. And this presentation is kind of what I built this for. Or if you have a really big new construction company and you're just starting a private sector division, which is brand new and it's like a startup, this could have been really valuable for you. But we have a program called Sales Launch. It's a 6-week program where we workshop each of these items to help build these up for you and with you using our tools and resources. We have one every 6 weeks. It's very affordable. If you're interested in that, scan for this recruiting analysis or sales and recruiting analysis, where we'll break down your sales company and your vision and where you're at and what stage you're at and where you want to be. and we'll go ahead and walk you through and offer you something. If you're a little bit more of a larger organization with salespeople or a sales manager or need of a sales manager, and you have salespeople, we have other programs for you that can train, coach up your sales reps, and also we can kind of really get more involved with our coaching team to level up your team. So we at STG are super honored to be able to share this today. You can email me if you like, rgroth@salestransformationgroup.com. You can also find me on Instagram at Ryan Groth. The sales athlete, you can, I think, write routes to me, but I changed it recently. And then I'm also on LinkedIn, or you can go to our website. Yeah, so that's it. Ron, I really appreciate you having me on. But yeah, guys, this is how to hire your first Rockstar sales professional training. Quick 40 minutes of value. Hope it was helpful.
Awesome, man. Well, thank you for taking the time to do this on today. I love it. There is a ton of value here, and there'll be a continued ton of value. So for everybody out there watching, for everybody that's watching on the recording later on as well, I want you to go check out what Ryan does, because like I said at the beginning, he is on a mission to professionalize the sales in construction. And I believe in that champion mindset, getting behind stuff that's going to move the industry forward. And not only does he believe in that so much, like this is what he does, is sales training. You can go out and you can find jacks of all trades that can teach you how to do everything. But can they teach you to do everything great? Like if you're looking to up your sales game, if you want to be in the top 1% of construction companies when it comes to sales, you need to reach out to Ryan, talk to his team, because that's what they do. They don't do anything else. They just do sales, and they do it at a high level. And not only are they going to teach you how to sell better and get you a team put together, is like you said, they have the resources either in-house or through partnerships to help you develop everything you need to be the best in the industry. So I hope everybody out there takes advantage of this. Once again, Ryan, thank you for being here today. We appreciate having you. And tell everybody, go be a champion until the next training. Like, take advantage of these resources, guys.
Let's do it. Thanks, Ron. You're the man.
All right. We'll see you.